Thanks for tuning back in. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify at Queen City Dog Talk. Welcome back to Queen City Dog Talk. I am Jacob.
I'm Drew.
And this is going to be a great episode. Let me just tell you a little about it real quick. We're going to go ahead and talk about Vandy in Georgia. It was great. And then we're actually this is a new segment we're going to add. It's called Rank 'em. So we're going to rank all the SEC teams, who we hate the most and who we not hate the most. But before we get started, as you can see, I'm wearing an orange jersey, but it's 24. This person plays for Cleveland Browns, and he is the Thunder. As you can see, it's Nick Chubb, so he deserves to be on Queen City Dog Talk. I mean, he is the bomb.com. He's great.
That he is.
And I actually saw a story about him recently at the Browns, and he is such a good leader. I mean, like at training camp, he's leading like workouts and like pushing people to do extra. And he keeps running through. And then during his games, during normal season practices, still doing the same thing, being a leader. And he is, my vote, best player on the Browns around that whole Ohio area.
It'd be hard to argue with that. I think a lot of Nick Chubb. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and let's start reviewing this Vanderbilt game. Final score, 55-0, your Georgia Bulldogs. Still undefeated, and I don't think we will be not undefeated.
That was a good game. They played really well, 28-0 at the half.
Amazing.
Finished up, got to see the second and third string guys come in, so that's always good. And what can you say? That's what we should do. Shut them out. Played really well.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that game a couple weeks back now, but we had some people over that night, so we enjoyed that. And then had the Tennessee Alabama game on the other TV as well while we were watching that one. So back and forth visually with the eyes, but Georgia did what they were supposed to do, so I was happy to see that.
Yeah, me too. But first quarter, hold on. Let's talk about that Tennessee-Alabama mistake or whatever right there.
Okay.
What happened there, Alabama? What happened? I mean, Tennessee is looking pretty strong this year. I'm a little nervous, but not that nervous.
Well, to kind of talk about that game, I said it to your uncle just a couple days before that game. We were out, and he's talking about Alabama's defense, and they're a good team. They are. There's no doubt about it. But my words to him was that I don't know, man. They're giving up a lot of penalties, and that was the name of that game. They gave up like almost 300 yards penalties, 17 of them. Missed a field goal that would have won potentially. Set the stage for that anyways. And then they lost by a field goal. So, I don't know. I kind of struggle back and forth. End of the day, you got to win your game, right? So, and overcome all that stuff. And Tennessee did. Yeah. Tennessee got the win. It was a big win for their program.
Very much
which we'll see what happens when Georgia plays Florida and Tennessee and Kentucky. Yeah. Today, we'll see what happens because that'll be a big matchup next week.
Yep. But here's about that game. I feel like Bryce Hall, whatever his name is, their quarterback.
Who? Tennessee's or no? You're talking about Alabama's? Mm-hmm. Why can't I think of his name now all of a sudden?
Bryce.
Go ahead.
Bryce something.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like those penalties really got to his head. Because if you look at the first quarter or the first half, pretty much, he looked pretty strong. And then once halftime was through, he was just playing awful balls. Not connecting, not looking at open passes, not even pretty much running the ball, Just kept getting, their offense just got smacked, and I feel like that's penalties, main cause of that. I don't know.
If you say so, I was looking up, it's Bryce Young.
Oh, Bryce Young.
I don't know why I couldn't think of that. So I was totally distracted.
Yeah, but, hey, thank you, Tennessee. Thank you. Is that 2 losses for them?
For Alabama?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
no,
almost.
Yeah, they have 2 other games where they were.
Both Texas teams.
Yeah, they won by 1 point against Texas, and then A&M was a close game too. So
let's go ahead and hop back to obviously the best game of that week. Of course, the Georgia game.
Well, anytime Georgia's playing, that's the best game.
Darn right. First quarter, Kenny McIntosh bringing it in. As you can see, he scored 2 touchdowns. He scored the only 2 touchdowns in that first quarter.
In the first quarter,
which was he brought it. He brought it, and it was great. Awesome.
That is good.
Yeah. His first touchdown was a 10-play drive, 75 yards. That's talk about a lot of time. You know, a couple episodes back, whenever I was working on other stuff, I was rewatching it and I heard that we were talking about Brock Bowers and how he's so great and all that. I think it was at his 75-yard run, and he was running, and we're like, that's great and all, but we don't have any time to work on what we need. Well, I feel like Vanderbilt gave us that opportunity. You know, those long balls, defining the passes. Which Bennett, we all know he's the mailman, but still, needs to work on it. And I feel like this was a very good opportunity, and I feel like we did take advantage of that.
Yeah, hopefully so. Russian, you had Edwards and McIntosh, and then also Robinson. They all carried. Their average was over 4 yards a carry. So
yeah, that was very good.
That's pretty good. Edwards was right at 4.9. So those guys are coming along. So I'm happy to see that. That's awesome. And then receiving, you know, kind of passing the ball around a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Washington leading that with a total of 78 yards, and then
that was
Bell right behind that. So it's good to see Bell continuing to grow and to catch a ball a lot.
Yeah.
Do some great things.
Speaking of Washington, surprisingly, we did not see a hurdle or attempting hurdle this game.
Oh yeah.
No kicking to the face
That's all right.
Yeah.
Maybe he's saving it for today.
Oh,
up against the Gators.
Love to see it.
Do that and then smack down some volunteers.
Love to see it. Yeah, right. Let's go ahead. Let's see. Second quarter. We'll just keep pounding it on them. You know, just I don't know much to say. This was a great game, but we just kept pounding them and pounding them and pounding them and pounding them.
Yeah, it was never in question. So that's.
I mean,
that's
look at
good.
this. Look at the win probability.
Yeah, scroll back up a little bit there. So Gilbert got in the game in the fourth quarter and got his touchdown, I believe, right? Yeah. Got a touchdown. So
4
he got
yards.
some catches and to get that touchdown there at the end of the game, that's great. You could see it. All the guys really loved that and were happy for him. I was happy for him.
Yeah.
To see him back in the red and black and doing well. So, pretty good. I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, and also something very cool about this game was in the fourth quarter, we did get to see Carson Beck.
Yeah.
Which was good. I did want to see
him.
That's good.
Cash Jones got a TD as well. So, that's pretty good, too.
Off,
so,
yeah.
Seeing those younger guys get in there and get to play, and that's great.
Yeah, and then passing yards by Bennett was 289 yards. Pretty good
Not too
game.
bad. I think he's kind of averaging right around that mark every game.
Yeah. And, wow, look at these first downs. That's pretty good for Georgia, right? What did you say?
30 first downs?
Giving up 10, though.
Well, that's okay. You know, I mean, look at the scoreboard. They got a big fat 0, so that's all that matters.
And then our total yards, 579 to Vanderbilt, 150.
Yeah, it's awesome. Time of possession, 39 minutes of a 60-minute game.
Yeah.
That's pretty strong, too.
Very strong.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, very little quick recap on a very awesome game to watch. And if you have not, please go watch it. If you're having a bad day, go watch it. And if you're just bored, go watch it. It's a pretty good game. Anything else you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
Not really? Well, let's go ahead. This is going to be a super quick episode, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we got the bye week, so that's all right.
It was definitely a bye week, so yeah. Nothing, no place. Well, let's go ahead and hop into the next segment. Rank them. All right. So there's 14 teams in the SEC. One of those teams is Georgia, so obviously that's your most favorite, right?
Well, I mean,
if it's not, please get off the podcast.
Right.
All right, good. All right, so 1 is your most hated, and 13 is your least hated. So we're gonna work our way from least hated to most hated. Okay. So who's your least hated here?
I would be Vanderbilt, no doubt.
Me too.
I mean,
me too. They're so pitiful. Like they're not really a challenge.
Yeah.
You know?
I really wasn't very big fan of theirs when Franklin was there. He made too much noise and was doing some things, giving Georgia a hard time. But little Vandy now is just little Vandy, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right, and number 12 in your least hated.
Well, you go ahead. You go first this time. Do you have a number 12?
Yeah, LSU.
LSU?
I mean, like...
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Because, like, I guess we should be, like, 1 out of 13, because that's just confusing me. So, so my least 12, my ranked number 12 is LSU. Nothing big. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't really have nothing to say much about them, but...
Well, Georgia doesn't play them yearly, right?
Yeah, right.
And respect that program a lot. In the state of Louisiana, Baton Rouge was a super cool place. Nice stadium to go to. I definitely want to go back. So
That'd be cool.
that's why I've got them there. The band's awesome. I mean, they just have a lot of. Their atmosphere is just awesome.
Yeah, I remember. I enjoyed it a lot. What was it? I think it was after the LSU game, and then like the little LSU school that plays right by it, the human jukebox.
Yeah,
I remember
Southern.
I was inside. I was working. I was up in my room working on the Spotify stuff, and I come out. I'm like, why do I hear band music? And I come downstairs and I see him watching like a band battle at the end. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. The LSU. That's pretty cool environment.
Absolutely.
Who's your 11th?
My 11th was Arkansas.
Oh, really?
Yep. So, Arkansas,
Yeah.
Well, we went to go see that game last year in Athens, and we just destroyed them.
Oh,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I like Sam Pittman. So miss him as pit boss here at Georgia. So I picked his team as one of my least hated teams for sure. What about you?
So circling back to Arkansas, whenever we went to that game, it was so loud, and the environment in Athens was so crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
My mom said, you definitely have some dog in you, because I was barking like crazy.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
My 11th is Mississippi State.
Gotcha.
I feel like we just don't really have like a lot of interaction with them.
Yeah.
And if we do,
we play them a fair amount. I mean, they're
true, we do. They're in our every year.
No, not every year, but we
play
them a decent amount. Dan Mullen was from there. The coach from Florida just got fired last year, and they've got those stinking cowbells and all that stuff. So I can see how that could be the case.
But I feel like we went to one of the Mississippi State games, and they were at Georgia, and I just remember it being super fun. But since I have it down there. Let's see. My 10th is Kentucky.
Kentucky, okay. My number 10 is Texas A&M.
A&M?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like A&M is a lot of competition, but we'll get on that later. I put Kentucky because it's Kentucky. They're always a fun game,
Yeah.
There's all these little schools like Kentucky and then Vanderbilt and like all stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny the history,
Very much so, yeah.
So I have some not so fond memories of Kentucky, but they're kind of the middle of the pack for me. So.
Yeah. Well, in my lifespan, the past 14 years, well, more like a couple of years ago when I actually started liking and doing stuff. Kentucky has been all right with me.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, my 9th is actually Texas A&M. Wasn't Texas A&M your 10th?
My 10th, yeah. So my 9th is Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have A&M because in the past couple of years, they haven't been good, but they haven't been bad.
Right.
I mean, they're at a pretty good spot. I would say probably about mid-table, wouldn't you?
What's that?
Skill level against
well,
the SEC?
I don't know. They're pretty low, I think, right now. They're having a tough year.
True.
They should be better than where they're at. So who knows what's going on there? But
I
had Texas A&M low because when we went to that game, their fans were really friendly. I remember being at that game and that Texas A&M fan wanted you to give him a high five or something, and Jacob wouldn't do it. He was like, no.
Yeah.
So he totally respected that, which was funny, which was also cool. But.
I just lost. What rank number are we on?
I don't know, 9, because I think I did Ole Miss and you were doing A&M.
But the reason, I think this is what I want to say, the reason I have them kind of up is, I was just thinking about last year, how they're like, I don't know, I feel like their environment is kind of cool, but the only thing that I don't really like about them is their cowbells. Isn't that the cowbell people?
Who? Mississippi State's the cowboy people. A&M, I just feel
they're
like pretty cool. They're not too bad.
Yeah, but they beat Alabama, and so that's why I'm like, okay, they can.
Right.
A&M's just that weird. I was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What's your 8th?
My 8th is Mississippi State, actually. So, Bizarro Dogs, the cowbell. I hadn't been too big of a fan of their previous coach, but Mike Leach now is their coach now. He's pretty funny. So
yeah, I have Arkansas.
Arkansas
fans. I have them up because last year when we played them?
Yeah, we went to that game.
And we were on the Home Depot pregame show.
Mm-hmm. College game day.
And oh my gosh, there was a lot of them there because they thought they were gonna win, and they just drove me nuts.
Did they?
I don't know why. Probably because they didn't like Georgia, and they were like, "Go Pigs, Suey!" or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just drove me nuts. And we were actually, if you go back to that, which I don't expect y'all to, but if you go back to that episode and you see like this trailer that has like a tailgate trailer and like this, there's like
Looks
a
like
Washington,
a dog.
and there's like a Washington flag behind it. Well, we're actually like right in front of there, and there was people, Arkansas people, like we were like fenced in because it was a part of the show, but Arkansas people on the outside like trying to steal it, like woo pigs or whatever they're doing. I'm just like, just get out of here, like no one wants to.
Yeah, well, get used to that.
Tell me about it.
Looks like we both had the same number 7.
Missouri. They're probably up. I would before last cup whenever we played them, they would probably be lower. But since what just happened, they're going up.
Well, they're in the East, so they're East foe. They came into the SEC and made too much noise. I believe won the East at least once when Georgia was, I think, more favored, if I remember correctly, and should have really won. So, don't really care too much for them, but don't really worry about them either too much.
Yeah.
Well, all right, who do you have for number? Did you have something else to add?
No, I was going to number 6. My number 6 is Ole Miss. To be honest, I don't really know a lot about Ole Miss, but the only reason why I don't really like it is because they hotty toddy. You know how dumb that sounds? Hotty toddy is like the worst catchphrase, or it just sounds so dumb.
Yeah, you're not a fan of that hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. It just makes
number 6 for me is Kentucky.
Really?
Yep. So I mean that's another East foe. Like I said before, there's been some games in the past that and they run their mouth too a little bit. So but they're really a basketball school, so they're not too big of a problem. But I'll put them there. Who do you have for number 5?
South Carolina.
That's funny. I got the same. I put the Gamecocks as number 5.
It's because we're living like right by them. There's so many of them, and they're always chirping. And I just see them all the time at school. I just want to throw up in my mouth. So that's why I don't like them.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, me too. They would have been higher. They were much higher when Steve Spurrier was there. That's for sure. But most of their fans are really kind of quiet now. I mean, I think we've kind of put them in their place since Kirby's been the coach. So that's good.
And who's your number 4?
Tennessee.
Same here.
Yep. So, I don't know. They should make, they hadn't really been anything for a few years. So
True.
That's why they're not probably higher. If they were a little bit more competitive, they would probably be higher. But, I mean, number 4, that's on up there.
And they're wearing orange, so.
Yeah, well, that's another strike against them for sure. Ran into a guy today. I was getting gas in the gas station, and he goes, "Go Vols!" And I looked at him. Of course, I'm wearing Georgia gear, Georgia stuff, and I said, "You boys getting kind of cocky over there." And he was like, "Oh yeah, man. Well, it's been a long time." I said, "Yeah, absolutely."
Yeah, right.
They, them and Florida fans and Gamecocks, it seems like they have no problem running their mouth. They get any kind of success, and that's what they're about. So.
Well, I also have this picture right here. It was hanging up on the wall. I just took it off. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it was back from 2012, Georgia 51 and Tennessee 44. And I'm just looking at this, and I like how the teeth's coming out his nose, and we're just absolutely stomping over them.
Destroying them.
And, I mean, it's Tennessee. They're wearing orange. I just don't like them. So this picture just reminds me of how much I love them and hate them. I mean, it just brings me that warm, fuzzy feeling every time I see
10 years
this
ago,
picture.
man. 10 years ago. That's something else.
Yeah.
All right, so down with the Vols. Now we're getting into the top three. So who do you have there at third? Auburn.
Once again, they're wearing orange.
Yeah.
And like the Ole Miss hotty toddy. It's another thing. Are you an eagle or are you a tiger?
Right.
Like, which one are you?
Yeah.
And whenever we went to I got to tell this story. Whenever we were actually down in Auburn and we went to the Auburn game, right? Well, I feel like you should hate them because they gave you counterfeit money. That's another story for another time. But whenever we were like not up high, but we were up high, and we lost that year, and we were walking out because we're like, we don't want to be here, we're losing, and all the Auburners was like, bye, and we were with his friends who you will see in an episode soon. But we were with one of his friends like, we'll see you soon. Come see us in the SEC championship.
Yeah. And so we'll see you in December.
We were already qualified for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, we see him in SEC, and we absolutely destroy him.
Yep.
And
that was awesome.
I just feel like every year we play him, there's like that itty bitty chance that people on the TV and say like, Auburn actually might win this, and it just hates it. I just hate it. So that's why they're my number 3.
Understand? My number 3 is Alabama, which I know you've got them higher, and I get that. But, Alabama fans, a bunch of that Roll Tide, hear that all the time, and they talk about the national championships. Gets to me, but right now as it stands, if we don't play them every year unless we're playing them in the SEC championship,
which is almost every year.
If they're there, but yeah, we're there doing that now. So I mean, really for me, these top 3, these top 4, it's just like a 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. So
right.
Alabama's right there. My number 2 was Auburn. So I definitely hear you there. Oh yeah, I mean. Cam Newton, being a Atlanta boy and playing there, and then it's failing me right now, the name. There's been a couple guys that played for Georgia that went over and played for Auburn. One guy, you won't remember this because you were younger, he was a DB. I think his name was like Nick, but I can't think of his last name. No.
Isn't that
I'm thinking Bo Nick.
Yeah.
No, but he was a DB for us, and then went and played quarterback for them and went to the national championship. Got beat by Florida State, I believe, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, and our experience at Auburn, and just, I mean, I got a friend that just runs his mouth a lot about Auburn too. And we got a friend in the neighborhood. I mean, they're nice people, but it's Auburn. So
yeah. Well, my number 2 is Florida. It's Florida probably because it's Florida. Like, there's nothing, you just hate them. Like, you're born with the hate of Florida. If you're a Georgia fan, you're just born with it. And I just feel like I hate him because he hates them. So
yeah, well, that's my number 1.
Yeah,
it's Florida. I hate them with a passion.
Fans, football team, and everything. Like,
I mean, there's good people, but
if you're in that, everyone in the SEC is pretty much good people. It's just what they do as fans.
Yeah, we're just trashing their teams and stuff. So it's nothing. But anyways, Florida for me. Could see when I was growing up in the '90s and the early 2000s. Florida was owning Georgia. Tennessee was owning Georgia too, but when Peyton Manning was there and all that stuff. But just not a fan of Steve Spurrier and that whole crew. So Danny Werfel, like all those guys, just they irk me. Yeah. So Florida's my number 1 most hated. Want to beat them, the tar out of them every single year. So, anyway, so that's my number 1, and I know your number 1 is
Alabama.
Roll Tide roll.
Yes. Well, we have his sister, which
Roll Tide roll.
Yeah, his sister's an Alabama fan, which I have no clue what happened there, and I am so sorry.
She married into it.
I'm so sorry for your loss, but
no loss.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But what was it? I just hate them because. What was it? SEC championship, losing to them. Alabama losing to them. It was like, oh, yeah, we own you, this and that. And then...
It's been some of the best games. There's been some really close ones. There's been some very questionable stuff that's happened.
Yes, all those darn fouls against us when we're playing them.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know. I just hate Alabama. Like you with Florida. You hate Florida with the passion. I hate Alabama with the passion.
Yeah, I get it, for sure. Well, that was a fun thing there. So
pretty much so. So now you know about what us Georgia Things fans, and go ahead in those comments if you feel like it. Go ahead and tell us your
top 3 most hated rivals.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
All right.
Top 3, 1 being the most hated, 3 being the least hated, and I'm excited to look through those. Let's see. Pretty much everything I have to talk about, and as you saw at the beginning of this video is in memory of Coach Dooley. Absolute amazing man. He was great.
Yep.
And I remember hearing stories about him and some of his friends talking about him, and then also seeing the 84 national championship.
80.
80?
Yep.
I thought it was 84.
Yeah, 80.
My bad.
Yep.
But
yeah, I was in like first grade.
I don't know why I thought it was 84.
He brought a lot of good things to Georgia. Great person. Do have his autograph, but never unfortunately got to meet him in person. Someone got that autograph for me. So, but great guy from everything that he represented, it seems to be, and what I don't think you could ask for much more. What he gave to the school and the program and the state. So he'll be missed. He passed away yesterday, age of 90.
Yep.
And then like 2 weeks ago, who Georgia will be honoring today at the game against Florida is Charlie Trippey, who died. He was 100 years old, and he died like a week or two ago. I can't remember exactly when. I think it was 2 weeks ago. And he was like all-American, really well-known athlete, and then just a spectacular football player, and gave a lot to the college and the school as well in the state. So we lost two damn good dogs this past couple weeks. So they're up there probably hanging out with Larry Munson and getting ready for this game, I'm sure, if they're able to watch it. So
yeah. Well, great way to finish it out with a great legend. But yeah, that's everything I have for you. What about you?
Let's go Penn State. Let's go
Yeah,
Dogs.
Right. So today is biggest cocktail party of the year, so we will definitely be tuning into that. But I'm very excited. But thank you so much for tuning in and listening to Queen City Dog Talk. And you can find us on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. Thank you. And if you're listening on YouTube, thank you so much.
Please like and share.
Follow and subscribe.
There you go.
Alrighty. Thank you once again. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Sick 'em.
Hoo, 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 hoo.